Destiny is negotiable. This great quote is from a book called The Moment of Astrology by the late scholar practitioner Geoffrey Cornelius. And one of the things that he argues in that book is that rather than interpret the astrological birth chart as a static blueprint of one's destiny and personality, if one looks back into the history of astrology, one finds that actually it served as a kind of symbolic device for communicating with the gods, who are the real causes behind the events of our lives and of the processes of the world at large. The beginnings of Western astrology arose out of a more general tradition of interpreting omens in the natural world as communications from the gods. Celestial divination. And interpreting these signs was not just about foretelling the future, but also about figuring out how we as human beings might enter into a kind of creative dialogue with the gods and change the future. If we go back over 4,000 years ago to ancient Mesopotamia, where the origins of astrology are said to take root. As Francesca Rockberg writes, the evidence of the omen texts and their related literature points to a conception of the world order not as a mechanistic system, but as intimately tied to the creative acts of divinities. Such a presumed connection, she says further on, between natural phenomena and the actions and influences of deities within a contingent universe justified appeals to the responsible deities to undo or redirect bad portents or omens. Divination thereby developed and maintained a close relationship to a form of theurgic magic. In short, we could say that the earliest evidence for the practice of astrology suggests that it arose out of a worldview that, as Francesca Rockberg writes again, involved a willingness on the part of the deities to listen to and to respond favorably to the appeals of humankind. This is quite different than the way contemporary astrology tends to frame the astrological birth chart, a kind of map of our archetypal potential as individuals, a bit abstract and static compared to this participatory device of the ancient Mesopotamians. Another interesting feature of the earliest birth charts, according to Rockberg, is that they include mention of the most recent new moon, full moon, and eclipses sometimes, which suggests that the chart wasn't viewed as something static, but that the fortune of the individual in question was viewed as something dynamic in process, not a static blueprint. What does this mean? It means you are free. You are not your chart. Rather, it is your key, your device for creatively dialoguing with the gods.